the medicine I'm on to go ahead and just keep it squashed.
While thousands wait for a cure, valley fever has continued to take a toll on the Central Valley. In 2001, 23 Navy SEALs were training near Coalinga, California, not far from that model airplane competition. Several started getting sick. A Naval Medical Center study confirmed an outbreak. 45% of the SEALs tested positive for valley fever. All it takes is one breath.
My guess would be if you took the 20 years we've been flying here, this is just off the top of my head, there's probably half a dozen people who may have got it relatively seriously that required, some form of serious medical attention. There are one or two people who have been told by their doctor never to come back.
Competitors bringing their models to Lost Hills are forewarned, but what about people who don't have a choice? Valley fever is also running rampant here, inside some of California's San Joaquin Valley prisons. The disease has been blamed for the deaths of dozens of prisoners and even prison staff. The state spends about $23 million a year caring for prisoners with valley fever.
Patients who are inmates who have diabetes, whose race is Filipinos and African Americans, they have to be moved out of this area which has COXI, okay? And also those patients who we categorize as high risk will be moved out also.
In World War II, German prisoners were even transferred out of the area to avoid violating the Geneva Conventions governing prisoner treatment.
Because the Nazis invoked the Geneva Convention that they were being exposed to this disease as cruel and unusual punishment. And so the Nazis were moved. Nazis!
Despite their anger over the lack of awareness and current treatment, some survivors do see signs of hope. In late 2013, experts from across the U.S. attended a symposium in Bakersfield organized by Congressman Kevin McCarthy, alarmed by the recent spike in valley fever cases.
I had an uncle. It went to his bones. I have a mother-in-law who got it late, just a couple years ago. She was bedridden for more than 6 months. Even my own mother, I remember being called back where she had an x-ray in her lungs, and the doctor called her back thinking she had cancer, and we all went down, found out a day or two later, no, it was a scar from valley fever as a child here.
When I got valley fever, I got really weak. After I was feeling better, I went to the doctor. The little ball in my lungs is smaller now, and now I stand grateful. Thank you for your time.
Emily Gorosky was there, sharing her story. Also there, the directors of the National Institutes of Health and the Centers for Disease Control, promising a new research study.
There are a lot of unanswered questions in valley fever, and that's a real concern. That's why it's so gratifying and important that we see such collaboration here within California as well as with Arizona.
My dream would be that if you walk in the door with pneumonia, or even just with fever for a couple of days, you're not quite sure what it is, that there's a simple, inexpensive test that will say, okay, you got valley fever, you don't. We don't have that right now.
Until there's a medical breakthrough, there's little that can be done to eliminate this danger in the dust. For its victims, its survivors, and their loved ones, it's about waiting, hoping, and warning others.
I call this my really slow near-death experience. It usually happens in a flash, and mine is spread out over decades. So, yeah, I feel like it's stolen my life.
It scares me to death. It really does.
If you breathe, you're susceptible to valley fever. It's essentially what it comes down to.
To order a copy of this program, visit us online or call 1-888-814-3923.
This Viewfinder episode is supported by UC Davis Health System. At UC Davis, the lives we touch inspire us.